And now, worse than Biden? Yeah, that's the focus of tonight's angle. Theatrics, celebrity endorsements, manufactured enthusiasm, that is going to be the mainstay of the Harris campaign. It's all razzle-dazzle and no real substance.
And even thousands of miles away watching through a TV screen, I feel like I can hear and appreciate the enthusiasm that is there in the room. I mean, the crowd is with her.
They're trying to cast Kamala Harris as a kind of cool stepmom version of Biden. Because once you burrow into the issues, her record, her views, things get really ugly really fast. If you're getting hammered on the Biden economy, and if you're tired of his catering to the millions of illegals Trump was just speaking about, with the billions of dollars, our money that's being spent on them, then you are going to be floored by how much worse things are going to get under Kamala Harris. Now, I want you to consider her remarks yesterday. We're at $34 trillion or so in debt, but she's pushing to grow the government even more. More money for health care, more money for child care, family leave, and more money for seniors. The Wall Street Journal's take today, the promise is that Uncle Sam will deliver it all. Ms. Harris is talking as if she's running in the Democratic primaries and trying to beat California Governor Gavin Newsom for her party's presidential nod. Well, that's who she is. That's who she's always been, a far-left progressive. So it's goodbye Scranton Joe and hello San Fran Kamala. If Biden tried to walk the line of things like fracking, places like Pennsylvania, Kamala, she's going to erase that line altogether.
I am prepared to get rid of the filibuster to pass a Green New Deal. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
Would you ban offshore drilling?
Yes. It's critically important on day one that we end any fossil fuel leases on public lands, and that I'm prepared to do on day one as a matter of executive action.
Now, states like Pennsylvania should run from this woman. Harris would ensure that your fuel bills keep climbing, and if you want to keep your gas stoves, your gas water heaters, your gas-powered cars, you can't support her. And she'll make sure the government regulates it all out of existence. After all, her home state is banning gas-powered cars starting in 2035. And guess what? Kamala's all in for it. And on the border, I mean, you heard President Trump. We know why Biden gave her the job of border czar that she pretends she never had now. Who better to preside over it than someone who apparently wants almost no border enforcement?
Abolish ICE.
Yeah.
Is that a position that you agree with?
There's no question that we've got to critically re-examine ICE and its role and the way that it is being administered and the work it is doing, and we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
No wonder she hasn't called the border chiefs. The fact is, people like Kamala Harris treat Border Patrol with suspicion as they greet illegals with open arms.
We cannot have any more policy like we have under this current president. We can't treat people like criminals when they're crossing the border.
Now, notice in her speeches now, by the way, she's using her as a former prosecutor line. You know, don't mess with the tough lady Kamala. That's what they want you to think. But like everything else with her, it's all smoke and mirrors. Because in reality, she seemed to enjoy the energy of the George Floyd riots.
They're not going to stop, and everyone beware, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that they're not going to let up, and they should not.
So, of course, she's also anti-police. Oh, unless, of course, the police are cracking open the heads of some MAGA people.
For far too long, the status quo thinking has been to believe that by putting more police on the street, you're going to have more safety. And that's just wrong.
A big part of this conversation really is about reimagining how we do public safety in America, which I support.
Reimagining public safety. Well, it's basically her reimagining of public safety is harassing her political opponents and then using the system to let everyone else get off scot-free. Now, think of how cocky these pro-Palestinian protesters were in Washington today. I hope you saw this video, both outside the Capitol and what you're watching there is at Union Station. Okay, burning the American flag, spray painting graffiti on statues, historic statues. And then they knew that Harris would never do anything at all to take a stand against, against that kind of behavior. She's not going to. She's never going to stand up against what you saw today outside the Capitol or at Union Station because she doesn't want to offend the people burning the American flag. She doesn't want to offend the people saying Hamas is coming on that statue. Yeah, they spray painted that lovely message. That's the two Americas that we were talking about at the Open. The America where Donald Trump is saying fight, fight, fight with his fist up in the air with a flag behind him, and the America where that happened. Those are the two visions of America. That's what the voters have to choose from. She didn't even attend the Netanyahu speech, and she didn't attend the Netanyahu speech because she didn't want to offend those people. Think about that for a minute. And on every issue, Kamala Harris is an extremist. As bad as Biden is, but she's worse. She even wants to abolish private health insurance, a bill she co-sponsored with Bernie Sanders.
I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance. So for people out there who like their insurance, they don't get to keep it?
Well, listen, the idea is that everyone gets access to medical care, and you don't have to go through the process of going through an insurance company. Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
Now, let's move on. Yeah, indeed, move on from her. Now, think of what she presided over in California as a senator and as attorney general, and now, well, her home state, run by her party and her friends, with the policies that she supports. It's destroying the once beautiful state of California. Crime is skyrocketing. Does Kamala Harris even stop for a moment to think of the suffering that these policies have created? The suffering that her party has caused? For her own fellow Bay Area residents, by the way.
The crime had got bad because all the homeless people are stealing and breaking into people's cars, that's why.
Drug dealing, on the streets, blocking the streets when you walk in, and you have to walk around just to get to where you got to get to, because everybody's mindset is on trying to get that high on.
Must have missed Kamala's speech on how to fix these urban hellscapes. I think Trump should go right into Kamala's old home turf. Call her out. Because Democrats own the current urban catastrophe in the United States. He talked about fentanyl a little bit tonight in Charlotte, North Carolina. The fentanyl deaths in San Francisco, again, Kamala's home turf. They're on track to reach the record that 2023 saw. Those levels were horrendous, and they're right on track this year. Look, a real border czar, a real president, knows that open borders means open season on Americans by drug cartels. But again, Kamala doesn't care. So don't for a millisecond get sucked into the Kamala cult of cool, the Kamala meme factory on social media. There's apparently one pretty smart Democrat, I think, who has doubts about whether she can win. Remember, we've heard for years that the Obamas didn't really think much of Joe Biden and think he was very smart. Well, imagine what they think of Kamala. Yikes. Now more than ever, in a dangerous world with an over-leveraged United States, we need a real president, not a figurehead who answers only to her donors and the far, far left. And that's The Angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.